Let's take a look at Creo Illustrate. Creo Illustrate is a purpose-built illustration creation tool that leverages 3D source geometry. Today we'll be looking at a series of illustrations built off of a transmission body and also a shift knob assembly. You can see that both of these source objects are linked, meaning that as they update, we can have them update in my illustrations. Based off of these source objects, we can create any number of figures that could include 3D or 2D publish options. Let's take a look at this demonstration file. Working in the tool, I'm in a fully 3D environment, and my parts are also based off of the structure on which they were built. So you can see my underlying part structure. I can easily turn parts on or off. Because of this underlying structure, my parts also know where they are assembled, meaning that I can move parts and they will always remember where their original assembled location is. Creo Illustrate is a purpose-built tool for illustrators, meaning that there are many rendering modes and ways we can make our model look appropriate for the illustrations we're trying to create. We also have a thick and thin line option, which will stylize our model and help us convert down into 2 dimensions if we choose to. We also have a library of 3D parts. You can add your own parts or assemblies to this and also include 2-dimensional shapes in this library as well. And these objects are also fully interactive with your illustrations. Let's take a look at some of the examples I have built out previously. Here's a good example of a section view, and you can also see on the left side of the illustration is an inset showing a bearing. Again, these parts are built off of that same source geometry, meaning I can turn them on or off, interact with them. And in the case of our sectioning tool, it's very intuitive and easy to use. I can turn my sections on and simply drag them through 3D space. You can see in this example, I'm also not intersecting with all of the 3D geometry, just what I would like to. Here's an example of a very traditional illustration, maybe something for a parts catalog or assembly instructions. And we have callouts that are tied to our parts. We're still in a 3D environment, even though we have our wireframe hidden line removal drawing mode on. And you can see these parts are also going to highlight in their inset views and also in the larger illustration. Here's the parts list I created, and you can see again that I'm building out a table of information that includes my callout number and the 3D geometry. Let me show you how you can add something to this table. Let's add this bracket assembly. I can simply drag and drop it into my item list. Like the number that was assigned, which was number 10, I have the ability to go in and change that. So here I've added a callout. You can see I can adjust the leader lines, and let's go ahead and change that item number. You can see I have a renumber command, and if my sequence number is going to start from 0, and I'd like this to be item number 3, my sequence number will be 2. And here you can see that update in my illustration. So that's now number 3, and all of my other callouts have updated accordingly. Creo Illustrate also gives us the opportunity to create stepped views or sequences. And in this case, here's an example of a sequence I built out that could be exported to 2D graphics. So we have different steps that show the removal of the shift knob. And we could export these to static images, whether those are raster or vector, for, say, print in a PDF manual. My last figure I have is an animation. And animations are very intuitive and easy to create in this tool. Here's an example of an animation for the removal of this cover. You can see I have instructions coming in and the parts are moving and animating. Now let's go ahead and change some of our geometry that our illustration is built off of. I'm in Creo Parametric, and I'm going to change the length of my shift knob, and we can see how that affects my illustrations in Creo Illustrate. If you'll remember, we created a link to this source file. So as that file updates, our illustrations will also update. Now I'm going to open up Creo Illustrate again, and you can see that here is a notification telling me that a source object has been updated. And I can open that up and confirm those changes before I save my illustration. So here's our dialog box telling me what was updated. Here's my illustrations that we had been working with. And again, I can come in and choose to look at these. You can see everything is preserved. And then we can also see that my shift knob height has been updated in my illustrations, even down to the steps I created for our printed manual. Let's take a look at some of the ways we can publish out of Creo Illustrate. Creo Illustrate is very flexible. We can publish to three-dimensional views, traditional formats like PDF or a raster format such as PNG. And we can also flatten our image down into a true vector SVG format, for instance. Thanks. I hope this demonstration of Creo Illustrate has been helpful. Have a great day.